Hey traders, welcome. Thank you for joining me today on our Indicator Warehouse Demo Day. We're in the middle of December 2024, coming up on Christmas. So if you're watching this in the future, I hope you had a great holiday season. All right, today we are going to go and cover two products. We're going to do some demonstrations on two products, show you what we've got lined up. We're going to be covering RiskManager, and we're going to take a look at a new free tool that we're going to be launching called Auto-Summarize P&L. And it's in its infancy. We have a lot more to add to it, but I want to give you a preview of what that can do for you and give you some good statistics on your trading. All right, well, let's jump right into it. This is the first thing we want to do is we want to make sure that you put your questions together now. So think about what you want to ask. Get in the mindset of asking questions. Love to have some interaction with you on this session that we're going to do today. Hopefully it'll just last about an hour. So near the end of that session, we will have a Q&A, and you can ask your questions away in the chat, or definitely enable your microphone and you can ask them directly. So very good. Let's go ahead and see what we got next. Yeah, okay, so last time we met, one of the questions that a trader asked was, well, I asked everybody, what was the difference for you in your trading career? Now, if you've been trading for a while, you've probably battled with a whole bunch of different issues: greed, fear. One of them is overtrading. If you get a little impatient, you get bored, you want to make something happen, you start trading, breaking your rules, losing discipline, and overtrading. So there is no quick solution to it. So we're going to cover this a little bit more, but you do want to find a solution, because if you cannot stop overtrading, if you cannot stick to your rules, if you have a discipline issue, it's not going to work. This trading business needs discipline. Really, all business needs a disciplined approach. It all does. I mean, you don't need to be disciplined to buy a lottery ticket. You can do that pretty easily. But what you do need to be disciplined is to follow a system and stick to rules that work. Identify rules that work, stick to the rules. And so there's no fast solution, but we're going to have a look at that, and maybe we can discuss that. Feel free to share your comments below. We would love to hear from you on what you did to, or what you're doing to battle the overtrading monster. So yes, we do have a coupon alert. Feel free to purchase anything from our store today for 30% off. You can use the code BEN30 right there. So feel free to do that. I hope you find something that you like today. One public service announcement, I guess, is a new version of Ninja is coming out at the end of this month. It's going to have, well, version 8.1.4. It was released to us already, some of the developers. So I actually have it, and it's kind of nice. The biggest advantage is it has larger arrows. That's right, chart markers that will print larger. If you have if you have trouble seeing small markers on your chart, like arrows or diamonds or circles or squares, those are the chart markers that Ninja gives you. They do have the ability to make them larger, and I'm going to show you that in a little bit today as well. If you own Raptor, I do want to let you know that Raptor 3.1 was released a couple of weeks ago, so feel free to install that, download it from your membership site. So log in. If you cannot log into your membership site, you forgot your password or whatever, just email me at support@Indicator Warehouse, and I will get you all the information you need. By the way, that is my email, so reach me anytime at support@indicatorwarehouse.com. All right, so we are going to take a look at RiskManager version 1.8.3. It's going to be out in a couple of days. We made some fixes and cleaned up some code. That's going to be coming, but we're going to take a look at RiskManager. And I also am going to show you a special review, like I mentioned, of Auto-Summarize P&L. So Auto-Summarize P&L is a great way to get a quick P&L on your trading system. And so let's take a look. First, let's talk, if you can, comment below, what do you do to combat overtrading? Now, I'm getting a little fancy here. I have resorted to using Gemini, which is Google's AI assistant. Uh, and I typed in the question, what is a cure for overtrading compulsion that many day traders suffer from? So yes, we're getting high tech here. Google has a suggestion for us. Gemini is their tool. Overtrading is a common problem among day traders. It can lead to significant financial losses. Well, that's an understatement, right? You could lose your entire account if you overtrade. Uh, there is no one-size-fits-all cure. Here are some strategies that can help. All right, so develop a solid trading plan. So you need to go into business with a trading plan. And what that means is you need to know what your setup is. There are literally millions of setups that you can follow. You do need to pick one or two. You know, you can make a lot of money just picking one. We have a product called Raptor, and it has 3 setups. Okay, so that's stretching it. But you can get by on setup number 3 with Raptor very, very well. So it works. It's just a matter of implementing it. Yeah, that's right. You know, I battled with overtrading. I still battle with overtrading. The other day, I took a silly trade and it cost me some money. So you want to make sure that you're not doing silly trades. And that means sticking to developing a solid trading plan and sticking to it. You need to really visualize what a good setup is. You need to like get that in your head. Maybe print out a chart, you know, use a colored printer, print out what your setup is. Take a look at it. I'm going to give you an example or two of what that looks like for me. Raptor does that as well. I mean, it gives you little buy and sell arrows, bigger buy and sell arrows now, that will show you when to enter or exit. And you need to know that. So whatever your setup is, you do need a clear picture of it because you can do 30% win rate and still do very well if your setup is right. I'm going to show you some examples. Okay, clear objective, risk management, right? Establish strict stop loss, take profit orders to limit losses and secure profits. RiskManager is a tool we're going to be talking about that will help you do that. Overtrading could be sometimes also revenge trading. How many of you have done revenge trading, meaning you took a loss? Okay, you take one loss, you're okay. Take a 10 tick loss, $100, let's say, in gold. Then you take another loss. Second trade's a loss. Oh, okay, so now we got 2 losses under my belt. What if number 3 comes along and you do take a loss? You're down 300 bucks. And you're going to say to yourself, you're going to be tempted to say to yourself, I am going to get this back. And that market's not going to beat me. So you start revenge trading and then you do some really crazy things. So we do need to fight that. And the good news is risk management, managing your downside will keep you in the game longer. Don't trade without a stop loss. Don't trade without a stop loss. Oh my goodness. Don't even get me started on that. Because that was my problem this week. I took a natural gas long trade in a slow market and I didn't put a stop loss in it and it moved against me. I can show you that trade if you like. So I blew it. I made a mistake. And if you can't come back from that mistake or if you don't think you could overcome it, then maybe trading isn't for you. All right. Trading strategy, develop a well-defined trading strategy. Well, that's kind of like develop a solid plan, and that's summarized, right? Patience, discipline and patience are the 2 keys here. So you need to do that. I don't know how to do that other than just to do it. Be patient, practice patience. You know, when a guy becomes a doctor, a medical doctor, he's going to go into practice. He's going to go into a medical practice. So he's going to practice being a doctor. I guess all of life is practice. You never really come to, you know, that ultimate state of perfection. Always practicing. And that is what you need to do as a trader. You need to come into a patience, a practice of patience. Emotional control, mindfulness techniques, patience is key. That is probably the understatement of the year. Avoid impulsive trades, wait for high probability setups. Now, keeping a trading journal is what it recommends next. That's tough for me. Man, I really need to do that, and that's probably my weakness. I don't keep a trading journal. Um, we do have Journal Link, which is a product that can help you do that, but I've heard some people say it's good to do it by hand. Get it into the practice of doing it by hand and learn the process of doing that. Either way, if you want to use a free tool, we have that tool that's available for purchase called Journal Link. Ties in with TradingView, TraderView, and you can use that to get a log of your trades. But keeping a journal doesn't help unless you review it, right? You need to take a look at it and grade your trades, and that will be a great way to learn. Okay, seek professional help. Yeah, okay, well, that's not only just for overtrading, but it's also for other things in our life. But therapy and coaching are great ideas. Use trading tools to limit overtrading, right? Trading platforms, automated trading. I mean, trading platforms, yeah, but they can definitely hurt you too. There's a lot of trading platforms that will give you quick, uh, cause you to basically encourage you to overtrade, I guess. The ease of use, single click, order entry, things like that can be maybe a negative too. Automated trading, a lot of people do that. There's AI systems coming out nowadays. We have a number of systems that are good to help you in this regard. But auto trading is a smart way to go if you can find a good, reliable, historical, back-tested, and relevant system. So let's remember, it is essential to be realistic and patient. Yeah, who's realistic nowadays, right? But definitely some wisdom there from ChatGPT. All right, guys, that is the wisdom that we have for you today. Let's go ahead and take a look at our first demo. We're going to look at, well, I want to show you, yeah, we could show RiskManager first. Let's do RiskManager, and then we'll do the review of Auto-Summarize P&L. Here is a picture of one of our tools called um, Roadrunner. So Roadrunner is a trend following system. It's looking for when trends pop in and out of position. So it's really good during trending times of the day. You want to be looking for that. I recommend using a really small range bar for that. And during the high volatile times of the day, which are the open and typically the last hour of the close, sometimes the last 30 minutes, sometimes the last 20 minutes or 15 minutes of the day. So those are good trend moving days. Actually, there was a good trade downward yesterday in the NASDAQ. That was a really good trend trade that paid off well. Okay, so I want to take a look at that was Roadrunner, but I want to take a look at adding RiskManager here, and I want to show you some features of RiskManager that you might not be aware of. So let's add it to the chart, move it up here. And one of the things you want to do is go and select the account name you want to trade on. And let's go ahead and hit that one. And I'm going to turn on Chart Trader for Sim 101. That's good to do. Let us take a look. This right up here, this box is RiskManager. Okay, this is it. What it does is it lets you define your risk. So right here you can say I want to do a 2.5% of my account, and one of the values that you input into the indicator is your account balance. So you manually enter that number. So we've got a $10,000 number in there. So 2.5% is 250 bucks. So what this will do is it will calculate your best position size based on risking $250 and based on your stop distance. So if your stop is, 2 points in the ES, right, that's $100 per contract. And if you want to risk at most $250 per trade, then you're going to get two contracts calculated there. So 2 points in the ES is $100, and you can risk two contracts. That'll risk a total of $200, and that's less than your max risk of $250. So that's just an automatic position size calculation. You don't need to do that. If you click on that box right here, which we call our top box, it changes to a fixed size. So if you just want to always trade one contract, or you can increase that by going to two contracts with the roll of your mouse. If you have a scroll wheel on your mouse, you just increase that or decrease that. So you can go up as high as you want and go down as far as you want. If we click it again, it just disables the entire system. Go ahead and click it again. If you want to, again, change these, the risk value, you can use your mouse scroll wheel to increase or decrease. So let's say we want to increase it to 3%. That's crazy. That's just something I'm going to do for a nice round number, okay? Let's reduce our stop ATR distance to 2. Now, the stop loss button here, this orange color, has a couple different features. It has the ATR, but if you click on it, you can also put a stop on an indicator, which is really nice. So right now there's no indicator plot selected. We'll go into that a little later, perhaps if we have time. Not used very much, but you could put a stop on an indicator. One of these lines, for example, could be the stop loss. But let's click on it again, and you can also put a stop on a horizontal line, an H line. So if I put a horizontal line right here, let's say, it found the line, and now you'll see that this stop loss distance, this marker here, is going to be right around that horizontal line. And if I move it, it moves the stop loss as well. You see that? So you can quickly move your stop loss, and if you go sell, now it's a $250 risk. So this tells you what your distance is, and the risk is based on the contracts plus the amount of points in the instrument. So if you go down to here, you're risking 1. So you'll see that I've hovered over the sell button. That puts it into sell mode. And it says, okay, it can risk 1 contract to stay under the $300 risk. And it'll be a total risk of 175 in this case. Well, if we go down, you're going to see it increases. Now it'll risk 2 contracts. And the total risk is going to be 300 at 3 or 4 contracts. So you can increase the contracts just by doing that, okay? But let's get rid of that line. I'm going to go back to, well, the third one is ticks. You can just say, I always want to risk 8 ticks. So that's 2 points in the ES. Let's keep it on there. Yeah, let's keep it on there. That's fine. So $300 is going to give you 3 contracts. Over the 8 ticks is $300 risk, so it's a perfect match. All right, that's pretty simple. Now the cool thing is the buy market and sell market buttons, right? Everybody likes to push the buy or the sell. When I go to buy market and I hover over it, you'll see it's now in a buy configuration. The word buy shows up. We got a contract count. We have a stop loss button level down here. We have a target 1, target 2. And you can configure those, target 1 or target 2 or target 3 in the indicator dialog, the parameters. Matter of fact, let's take a quick look at that. Okay, RiskManager. So here we go. T1 ticks, T2 ticks, T3. So this is the distance to the targets. And right now we're on risk multiple. Oh, okay, we're on risk multiple. So you can set it for ticks or a risk multiple. So a risk multiple means a reward to risk multiple. So it'll go 1.5 times the risk is your first target. 3.25 is the second target, 3.25 of multiple of your risk. And the third one is 0, meaning it will be a runner. It will not have a target. So if you have if you have 3 or more contracts, it will get off that at that level, right? But also at those levels. But also you do want to take into account these quantity percentages. Let's say I want to do a 33%, 33%, and then a 0%. Okay, let's keep that in there. There's some other visual options here. You can show the buy and sell line. Um, there's some dots that will print on there, the line length. So these lines here, you can control the line length of these lines that are showing. The marker opacity, which are those little ovals. Show the risk, show the reward, show the dollars, risk, and reward. So the little dollars will pop up here. And also the contracts at T1, contracts at T2. We got that. Let's do the orientation of the box is vertical. I like it vertical. Oh, and there's a lag timer in here, which I think is a pretty sweet little feature. So if your market has a lot of lag in it, or if your data connection is lagging, or if you're having problems with your internet connection, you're going to get a lot of lag. And you don't want to be trading if your charts are 10 seconds behind the market. So the lag time in seconds here is it'll warn you whenever our lag is greater than 2 seconds. It'll do a little text message in the bottom of the chart. It'll tell you that your lag is 3 seconds. So it's really handy to have that information. You want to consider that before you place a trade because you can get filled in a very strange location if you're not aware of lag. Okay, colors for the buttons are there, and that's about it. One of the important things is your account name, and you could also use an ATM strategy here. We're not going to do that right now. ATM strategies, they basically take over the targets and the stops, so and the quantity. So you want to be very aware of that. If you choose an ATM strategy template, like one of these, it will take over all those features and it'll ignore what you've entered in the other parameters here. Okay, so let's go ahead. So I just completed that. Again, we're doing 33% off at T1, 33% off at T2, and there is no T3. So if I go by market, let's see here. Got to look into that because I don't see a T3, T2. All right. Oh, okay. Because we're only doing one contract. So, okay. The distance here is gone to stop ATR. I want to get back to my stop ticks. Okay, there we go. That's what I needed to do. So I'm doing an 8-tick stop. The target is now 1.5 times that. The first target is 1.5 times that, so that's what should be 12 ticks away. And then the other one is 3.25 times the 8 ticks. That gives us that T2, and there is no T3. Okay, so this is looking like a long to me. We just broke to a new high here. We got a nice rounding bottom. I'm going to go ahead and buy market right here. So there we go. We're in the market long. And you see that it put the targets 1, 2, and 3 right there. Oh, interesting. It went to a... Okay, so we want to change that. So one thing I noticed is it has a 2 contract exit. Well, we don't want that. I want to go back to 1. Using NinjaTrader's chart trader interface is very simple here. You can quickly change that order to be just 1. So we're going to do 1 as a runner. Let's see if we get any move here. It's about, well, it's about 1:30 in the afternoon. Good, we got some movement here. Look at that. Not Raptor. RiskManager has gone ahead and placed the order. We went filled. It immediately places the 2 targets and it immediately places the stop. I'm going to move my stop upward now into place. And I want that to be break even now. All right, so we just got filled on 1. That's nice, huh? And we got 2 contracts left and one's target left. Let's go ahead and expand this out a little bit. Wow, the ES is at 6,053. Very big number. All right, I'm going to move my stop up a little bit more. Let's take in some profits as well. We had a nice move on the first $150 was taken. a 12 tick hit. So that's nice. 3 points in the ES. And you can do anything you want really, because once RiskManager placed those orders for you, it's basically out of the way. It's letting you now manage it by using your chart trader interface. You can add to this position, you can close out the stop or the target, either one. You can change the quantity. Let's say we wanted to switch to a 2 contract target. That would be fine. We could do that. We could cancel out that target altogether. It's up to you. It's now in your hands. That's the nice thing about RiskManager is it takes the trade, gets you in the position with the right quantity, and then gets out of the way. Okay. All right. So I'm happy here. Things are stalled out. I'm just going to close the position. So I just hit close, and we're filled on our nice long. We just gained 475, so not too bad. But you can also go short. So obviously, right? So we hover over the sell marker button, and now it's in a short setup. So it's got the word sell here. It's got a stop loss up there at the top. It's got T1 down here and T2 down here. If you were to click that, you would go short. But I want to show you some other features. If you now hover over the buy button and use your mouse wheel, you can switch this from a market order to a limit order. Now look what we've got here. When I move to a limit order, I want to see the colors. It's kind of hard to see that. Tell you what, let's switch the color. That's what we need to do. I can't quite read that button, so I'm going to go ahead and switch this from navy to Dodger blue. Okay. So we just took a long trade using RiskManager, and it turned out pretty well. We gained 475 bucks, just doing a nice little pop here. So, but I want to show you how we can now change this to be a limit order. So I'm going to go ahead and change this to limit. I changed the color so we can see it a little bit better. That's nice, right? Limit entry. So this is 4 ticks between the entry line and this blue line, the buy limit line. I'm going to increase that. To increase it, I'm just going to hover over this, and I'm going to increase it with my mouse wheel, and you can see the distance is increasing. You see that? So that's really handy. Very quick way to do a limit order. So let's go ahead and put a limit order here. It's going to be 4 ticks below the current market, and I'm going to do that. Now, one thing to be wary of is that when we place that order, it places all of the targets and stops immediately, okay? So we've got a limit entry here, we've got a stop loss here, and we've got targets up here. We're not in the market yet, so this might be a little foreign to you. You got to think about this. The market kind of moved away, so we are free to use our movement in ChartTrader to move up our entry orders. Let's see if we get filled here. Now, I did move these. These are working orders up here, so I don't want them to get filled. So I want to move that away from the position. If the market, if you aren't comfortable with that, then definitely you can cancel them out. Okay, you can certainly cancel them. Matter of fact, let's cancel one right now. So I just canceled that one. I think we might have missed our nice little buy opportunity. Kind of didn't quite hit us. So let's go a little bit up here. We're risking just 2 contracts on this entry. Okay, we're going to go 2. And see if we get filled here. Maybe we can get another winner. Got a nice strong move coming here in a very short time frame. We're looking at a 10 tick range on the ES. Tell you what we'll do. Let's go ahead and close that. I don't want to enter that. I want to sell at a stop order. So a stop is different. Let's go to a buy stop. Let's say we're going to look for a buy stop. Now, a stop is above the current market price. So this blue line is your buy entry line on a stop order. I'm going to go ahead and I moved the stop loss and the targets away by increasing my stop ticks. I'm going to go a buy stop right here. So it placed all the orders for me, which is great. I'm going into one contract. I'm going to buy it if we break above that high. Sounds like a smart trading move, right? See if we can get a fill here. If not, we just cancel again. I'm just kind of demonstrating how to use RiskManager, some of the features. So Vadim, I hope you can hear me. Let me know if you can hear me or not. We are just doing a quick little demo here. I thought it might be interesting to go back to RiskManager. All right, well, the market's getting a little boring here, right? So I don't want to overtrade. I'm just going to close it out, right? We're done with the demo on RiskManager, really. And again, all I'm doing is I'm hovering over the button and I'm rolling my mouse wheel. And when I move into a limit cell, I get the limit entry ticks. If I go in one more mouse wheel roll downward, I get a stop entry distance. And I hit it again, I'm back to market. So you press the buttons, you're going to go long at market or short at market. So I don't know. I'm feeling, let's go back to a 8 tick distance. That'll put us in for 3 contracts. I'm going to go ahead and buy market. All right, so we're filled the market on 3 contracts. Let's see if we can break through some of that resistance. Reduce this to 1. Let's see if we can get a runner. So we're long 3. We've got a stop loss for 3. Right now, we're down 75 bucks. I don't know if the market can push through this, but it had a really good move just a few minutes ago. We had 3 big up bars, so broke through some prior resistance pretty well. I mean, we are at 1:38 in the day, 38 p.m. Eastern time. Getting a nice push up here would be a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful thing. So let's go ahead. I'm going to put my 2 targets together. We're at about, that'll be about a $300 gain if we hit that. I think we're at about 12 tick distance. Do a quick ruler here and see we are at 12 ticks, which is 150 bucks a contract. Sell 1 contract right here, right? So I'm going to sell. So, okay, so we just sold a contract. I've got to reduce this now to 2 because it was at 3 before. And I'm going to put my stop here. So we're at 525 on the day. And let's see if we can push up the target. I'll let it run out until we get there. One thing too is if you find these ovals and the markers to be a problem, I'm just going to turn it off. I'm going to go to disabled. So I clicked on the top button a couple times and disabled it. One thing too is if you want to move it around the chart, you just go up here to the handle, this gray bar at the top, and you can move it. It turns into that little movement icon. Or you can just move it out of the way. It's completely up to you. Looks like we might get stopped at a break even on this. All right, so we're out. All right, so that is RiskManager. Really, really nice. You can do some really fast entries if you are concerned about getting your contract quantity correct, if you're concerned about getting your stop in, your targets in. RiskManager basically solves that problem completely for you. So, okay, enough with RiskManager. We have got another review for you on Auto-Summarize P&L. I don't know what to call it. Maybe you guys want to submit an idea of what this should be called. It's a tool that lets us measure the historical P&L of any system. It reads the drawn lines, and it also reads drawn rulers. So if you use the ruler tool, it will calculate your P&L based on the rulers. Now, Roadrunner here, I have a version that generates these trade lines. You see these green lines here? Let's see. Might be hard to see them, but there's a green line right here. There's a green line right here. There's a real faint red line right here. Because what it's doing is it's saying we went long on this bar, but we went short on the very next bar. So we had a loss on that trade. So it's a downward air, it's a loss. It's a losing trade. So it's a magenta colored line. If we went short and we gained money on the exit, so it's going to be a green line. Now, Auto-Summarize P&L looks for green lines as winners and anything else, any other colored line as a loser. And it just calculates your P&L for you. Super quick, super easy. Right here, we're taking a look. Not too bad. You know, 50, this is just a simple calculation based on a start and stop time of the day, using every line that occurs in between the start and stop. And we've had 20 wins, 38 losses, so a 34% win rate, roughly. We have got a profit factor of 1.1, and we've got 28 ticks net. So what is that, about $12.50 a tick? Oh my gosh. So whatever that turns out to be, that's how much money we gained on our look back. There's an average ticks per trade. So the average is actually 0 ticks per trade. The median is that, because we did have a number of losses. But when our gains have outstripped our losses, and that's how we're in a profitable position. 5 days of trades involved and about 47 minutes per trade. Let's take a look at the features and the parameters for Auto-Summarize P&L. Okay, so, one other thing is it does print the date to the chart, which is nice. A lot of people ask for that. So it's a little tool. It'll print the date in the bottom left corner of the chart. I'll show you that in a second. But you can print some additional information to your output window. So if you're familiar with the output window, it will actually print more information there than just what's included in our P&L box. Okay. Show P&L box is this green area up here. You can turn that on or turn that off. The location is right now in the top right. A win line. So any lime colored line is a winner. So that's how it determines if it's a winner or a loser. So we want to use that. You can change this color to whatever color you want to choose in your lines. So anything that's not lime colored will be a loss. We'll consider it a loser. You do have a really nice feature to set your start time and your stop time for trading. So if you just wanted to take a look at how profitable is this from 9 till noon, we could do that. And we'll do that in a second. Now you can change the opacity of the out of session region. I'm going to show you what it looks like. We do have the ability to turn that on. So we're going to make it a 30% opaque color. And you can set your commission per trade. So that's a nice thing too there. If you use the drawn rulers, you can flip the trade from a winner to a loser. I'll show you that in a little. Well, it's a little easy way to change the color of a ruler by using the left control and a mouse click. Okay, so this, you see now we have these red regions. Those are the out of session times. Those are, the black is the color of my chart, and that is in session. That's when the trades are being considered and they're being calculated. Now, just by doing that, our win rate went up to 40%, and we have now 81 ticks P&L. The average ticks per trade is rounded to 3, and the median is 0. 5 days, again, 26 minutes per trade. So just by reducing this, getting rid of the lunch hour, we find that this is a pretty good system to trade in the morning. Our profit factor is up to 1.4. All right, now I told you that I would show you what the output window looks like. Maybe that is of interest to you. So we're printing our results to output 2. And one thing the indicator does is it prints every trade that you've got in your system. So there we go. We can see that on the 9th, 9:30 in the morning, we took a winner for 675, right? This is all historical, and it's a rough estimate. It's not based on any sort of accurate fills. You know, the market is jumpy at that time of the day. You certainly could suffer slippage. This backtest is a very simple backtest. And I do want to warn you, caution you that historical results are not a guarantee of future results. So keep that in mind. So we got that. We also have the average trade length in minutes, and we have what you set for the commission. This information is what is printed to the P&L box already. That's what's showing up in that green area. But what we also throw in here is an average favorable excursion on your trades and an average adverse excursion. So those are in ticks. So if our average win is, the favorable movement of a trade is given there. Number of ticks that we move in the favorable or profitable direction. And then the adverse excursion there is listed as 14, the number of ticks we move against us after we've gone into the market. So you can use that information to perhaps dial in your stop losses and your targets. If you're on average moving 22 ticks in a favorable direction, you might want to consider, obviously, exiting right around 20 or 22 ticks. And if your average adverse excursion on the trade is 14, you can consider putting something maybe a little outside of that distance. Something you want to backtest again, but gives you some good ideas there of the volatility of this time of day with this system. So that is Auto-Summarize P&L. I hope it was kind of helpful. If you're interested in either one of these tools, either the RiskManager or Auto-Summarize P&L, remember we do have a ability to purchase them. I gave a discount code. If you want to purchase them today, you can get 30% off just by using BEN30, BEN30 in your purchase, and you'll get a nice discount. All right, well, that's everything I had for today. We're coming up on a few minutes left. Do you have any questions today? Anything come to mind? Would you like to respond to my question that I put forth earlier, which is how do you combat your overtrading? How did you overcome it? If you're a career trader, how did you fix it? How'd you defeat it? Let me know. We want to know your point of view. If there are no other questions, feel free in the future to write those questions in the comment box here. Happy to answer them. We will get you the answers as best to our ability. And if you have any other questions, accessing your account in Indicator Warehouse, questions about any of our products, you can always reach me directly. Send an email to support@indicatorwarehouse.com. I'm the guy who answers it. And I've been doing it happily doing it since 2009. Met a lot of great folks through Indicator Warehouse. Really fun to get to know you. So feel free to reach out to me. Again, my name is Ben Leto. I don't see many questions coming in, so let's wrap it up. It's been great chatting with you. Great having you here. Trading is a gold mine if you do it right. Charting and trading, technical analysis is a gold mine if you trade it right, if you do it right, if you approach the markets with discipline and patience and limit your trading. Do not overtrade. All right, guys. Thanks again. I wish you all the best. God bless you at this holiday season. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out. God bless you all.